Good day, ladies and gentlemen. The presentation that we are about to see is based on how industrial engineers can help small island developing states. First of all, what is an industrial engineer? Industrial engineers are the optimizers of the industrial world. They plan and adjust projects and processes so that they become faster, cheaper, and overall more productive. Furthermore, what are small island developing states? These are some of the world's smaller islands that tend to share challenges when looking at sustainable development. You see, due to their size, they often experience economic and environmental issues when trying to compete globally with countries such as China. They often end up depleting natural resources in search of economic advantages, and when these resources are exhausted, they are left with little other options. However, these slides will focus mainly on how industrial engineers can help the small island developing states environmentally. So, we will look at what are the major environmental problems the small island developing states face. Based on a vulnerability paper from the Small Island Developing States in 2003, the depletion of undeveloped land, waste management, high degrees of beach cliff and sand erosion, as well as being prone to natural disasters and sea level rise are the more pertinent issues.
So how can industrial engineers help the cities? Well, let's take them one at a time. How can they help the land development problems? This will be a very long-term project and will require assistance from other engineers. Industrial engineers can advise governments as to plans on the relocation of those who dwell in undeveloped lands and then determine the soil types to decide how the land can be used, whether it should be used for housing or agriculture. They will then be able to give an example of the size and material requirements which will be most conservative and find ways to limit energy use throughout the designs. As for the waste management, this will have to be both additions and improvements. For example, there can be new methods of sewage treatment for the new households, and for the already existing households, recycling plants can be set up for separate materials such as glass, plastic, paper, and organic waste. And this can even be employed in businesses such as schools and restaurants. The industrial engineers will be able to devise the fastest and most efficient route for garbage trucks and aid in the transitioning of existing waste management systems to make them more efficient, which can be by using renewable energy technologies. So how industrial engineers can help with erosion will have to be as generalized as to how most people help with erosion, afforestation and reforestation. You see, most of the erosion is soil type, and trees will help keep the soil together. Hence, industrial engineers can look at the soil types and decide which plants will be most suitable to grow there and save the soils. They can too determine if the plants, such as coconuts, will be grown on large scales so they can be sold or manufactured, such as cotton. Now, natural disasters are quite different and more difficult to deal with because the sins have spread worldwide, which makes them prone to different natural disasters. Thus, plans will have to be set up based on which type of disaster the country is most likely to experience. This can be simple things such as building homes resistant to the elements, strong winds and rain, or by making preparation plans for the islands with volcanic activities or those in the path of hurricane, as well as evacuation routes, going around to schools and large businesses, informing them on how to make their buildings more resistant to the disaster, which buildings to make as shelters, and storing food and first aid supplies in them. Additional larger scale recovery plans involving hospitals, police, and fire services can be issued with governmental forces so those with the power to help can do so. For example, issue a certain number of doctors and nurses to go to the shelters in areas where they live or work. The silts are also unfortunate in that they are low-lying. With the current issue of global warming and with the melting of the ice caps, small sea level rise affect these islands drastically, taking away its coasts, many of which are populated for fishing and hotel lodging. Luckily though, many of them have reefs which act as natural wave buffers. Thus, industrial engineers can help the island find ways to promote the reef growth. If they are not reefs, however, seawalls can be built to help reduce wave effects such as erosion and storm surges. Industrial engineers will help with the ergonomics of this by making the assembly more productive, incorporating newer technologies, developing ecologically sensitive purchasing practices and policies, removing unnecessary steps and waiting time to make the project faster, cheaper, and these few steps can go a long way to helping make a better future for these little islands, and industrial engineers can help a lot. So if you think of any other ways that industrial engineers can help the cities, feel free to comment below. Thank you for listening and do enjoy the rest of your day.